Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, maybe good evening. It's Rose here from the AHA product marketing team, and we are delighted to have you all joining us for today's tutorial on how to build a 2025 roadmap that everyone supports. So thank you to all of you who are joining us live for this big topic. So I am excited to introduce you to our all-star presenters for today. Julie and Stephanie, you can go ahead and join me on camera. Great. So Julie is our Director of Product Management and UX here at AHA. She has over 20 years of experience in product management and plays a major role in building our own product roadmap. So we're thrilled to have her here with us today to share her expertise. And Stephanie Lechner is a product success manager with a wealth of experience in product management and guiding our customers to get the most out of AHA software. Maybe you've had the pleasure of working with her directly before. And she will be guiding us all through each step of building a roadmap today. So again, we're so happy you're all here with us live. Appreciate you making the time. And we hope you leave today's tutorial feeling a lot less anxious and a lot more excited about building your roadmap with our expert tips on how to plan efficiently. So let's go ahead and dive in. Over to you, Julie.
Thanks, Rose. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm really excited to talk with you today about building a roadmap for 2025, something that's top of mind for our own product team at AHA, and I'm sure for many of you as well right now. And when you think about product development process, I would imagine that road mapping comes to mind because road mapping plays such an important part. It's the key to bringing your strategy to life, and it also helps to rally your broader organization around your plans. And I know that planning can feel overwhelming. You're trying to map out next year, but at the same time, you're still focused on delivering what you've already committed to this year. This is why it's so important to efficiently create a roadmap in a way that gets everyone aligned. I know that's easier said than done. Gaining this alignment can be a little stressful sometimes. You have a lot of different perspectives from maybe your sales team, your customer success, leadership. But here's the secret. You're going to have to make tough trade-offs. It's not possible to please everyone, and that's okay. Because if you've established a process up front that's both collaborative and grounded in your product strategy, it's going to be so much easier for you to bring everyone along as you go. And the best part, this can reduce your stress so much. Before we dive into the details, though, I'd love to hear from all of you through a poll. What is the biggest challenge that you face when building your roadmap? Is it trying to align with your overall product strategy? Maybe it's really about finding a balance between prioritizing customer ideas and new features, or it's communicating plans to stakeholders because we know it's important to get their buy-in. Maybe it's just something else. If it is something else, please let us know in the Q&A. We would love to hear about that. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing these results coming in. Great. Let's see what the results are. Looking at this, they're pretty even. So it's pretty clear that we're probably struggling with very similar challenges when it comes to building roadmaps, and it's not surprising. This just highlights how universal some of these pain points can be. But the good news is we will be addressing each of these areas. So by the end of today's tutorial, we really want you to walk away with a clear understanding of how to align your roadmap with your product strategy so you can ensure you're focused on the right work. Prioritize all of that customer feedback, those new features together, so you're delivering what matters most, and communicate your plans effectively so you can get that all-important approval from your stakeholders and your leadership team. All right, well, let's get into it. Over to you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Julie. I definitely can empathize with those struggles. I remember back when I was doing my annual planning, even just getting everyone's calendar aligned feels like cat herding. But I'm really excited to be here today to help us get off of that struggle bus. Julie mentioned the importance of establishing a clear process up front, and that is where diagramming your product development framework can be really useful. So here I'm showing you the AHA framework for product development, which you can find in the knowledge section of your own account. This shows you all the stages that go into strategic approach to your agile work, starting with setting strategy, all the way down to executing those ideas and features and building out your roadmap. Now, you can customize your own framework here, but for the purpose of today, I'll be referencing our own AHA framework, which you can see here. Now, what's important here is as you customize this for your needs, you just want to show each stage what activities are happening along the process, what is the cadence of these activities, and who owns them. Now, as Julie mentioned, it's super important to ground your process in strategy. And aptly, you can see our first section is called Strategize. So I'm going to jump into it. Now, I cannot stress enough how important it is to set your strategy before you actually get into prioritizing those ideas and your features. This does require a lot of research and deep thought, but it's well worth it because the time and effort will pay off because you'll have a better roadmap that is clearly aligned to your true customer and business needs. Now, we won't be spending a lot of time covering the strategy portion because last month we covered a tutorial focused just on setting this strategy. If you didn't have a chance to attend, we're going to pop a link to the replay in our chat. But you can also find all of our tutorial replays on our knowledge base anytime you'd like to go back and look at them. But the key takeaways we covered in that session are that you want to clearly define your product's vision. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our example here. This helps provide clarity to the team so that you understand what you're building towards and how you're going to get there. So this is my product vision for our fitness cycling app. Now, once you have set that, you're going to want to define those time-bound measurable objectives. And this is where AHA goals come into play. So if I open up some of these, you can see I've defined 4 goals for the first half of 2025. These just help you define what is our success metric, and how we are going to get there and how we're going to measure that success. Now, after you define those goals, you're going to want to define those long-term strategic themes that will be helping you accomplish those goals. And that is where AHA initiatives come into play. So you can see here, I've got a few initiatives. These are going to take a period of time in the first half, but they're going to help us accomplish those goals that we've defined. Now, if you don't have these 3 elements in place, you'll want to do that before you get started on your roadmap. So be sure to do that before you jump into the details. Ultimately, these are going to be the guardrails for how you make those decisions and decide what goes on your roadmap for the year. But for the purpose of today's tutorial, we're going to assume you already have those set, so we won't spend too much time there. Now, the next step in our framework is going to be moving on to capturing that feedback and ideas from your customers and your colleagues. This helps you do early stage exploration into new product concepts before you ever draft that roadmap and prioritize those features and showcase your plans. So go ahead and let's start with capture now, and I'm going to kick it back over to Julie.
I have to say, capture is probably my favorite phase, and let me tell you why. Before we can even start to build anything meaningful, we need to first understand what people are asking us for. And we do this by reviewing 2 key sources of feedback, from our customers and from our team members. Now, if I asked you whether you've seen our ideas portal, I'm going to say and hope that most of you will say yes, and our own AHA team members will say yes too, because we're always asking you to share feedback in our portal. And that's because we always want to have your needs at the forefront of our product decisions. And as a product team, we've set a goal to respond to new ideas in 2 days or less. That way we can bring key themes to our product team meetings every week. And that's really important because when it comes to our early stage planning, the product team already has a good understanding of what our customers are asking for. And this makes it way easier to prioritize ideas against those strategic initiatives that Stephanie just shared with us and we've just set, and promote those top ideas to features. We often ask if it's tough to build a product for product managers because they love to share feedback. Yes, as PMs, we love to share feedback, but we love receiving it, and probably even more so. How else can you know what to build? And hopefully you too are fortunate to have an engaged customer base that contributes to your portal. Now, while it's great to have this influx of new ideas, it can be challenging to evaluate which of those ideas align with your overall strategy. And at the same time, be able to extract key insights across those ideas. Well, AI is perfect for this and can do that heavy lifting for us. We use it to analyze related ideas so that we can identify trends or even just group similar ideas into common themes. And this allows us to focus on those highest impact opportunities without getting bogged down in all that manual review. Now let's turn it over to Stephanie to see these capture steps in action, and hopefully you will love capture space just as much as I do.
Thank you, Julie. As she just mentioned, this is a cycle, which is why you see it represented here. This is an iterative process. You're constantly going to be reviewing feedback. I mean, while we were setting strategy up there, I'm sure you were receiving feedback and getting new requests all the time. So you want to build that regular process in to review these ideas. But first, let's start with how we can officially capture that feedback. And this is where an ideas portal comes into play. So here's our ideas portal. This is where our customers will come to add new ideas or vote on existing ones. Once they add an idea to the portal, we'll be able to review it internally and make decisions on that idea and give feedback on them. So here's where our portal users will come, but you want to make a habit of coming over to the ideas overview section where you can review the latest ideas. This page has got a lot of great information where you can see the newest ideas, popular, recently promoted and shipped, just a lot of really good data on that feedback that you're receiving. But let's go ahead and open up our newest idea, personal record history. I can see here that I have got an initial product value score. You want to go ahead and decide very quickly how you would like to score this idea. The product value score gives you an objective framework to evaluate your ideas. And here we're using metrics based on population, need, strategy, confidence, and effort. So I'm going to go ahead and update my score really quickly on this idea so I can feel really confident about it. Now you can see here, this status is already ready to go. So you want to make sure that when you're evaluating the ideas, you're updating the status accordingly, and those subscribers to ideas will be notified of these changes. This idea has a lot of potential and it's aligned to our strategy, so I'm really excited to put it on our roadmap. Now, this is a type of review you're going to do on a continuous basis, but when you're thinking about from an annual planning perspective, you probably want to review all of your ideas and start to identify themes, and that's where AI can really help. So I'm going to go over to this AI exploration section and open up an analysis that I've already run. You can see all of my ideas here are grouped by a theme, and each dot represents an idea. And the closer related each ideas are to each other, the closer the dots are going to be. So you can visually start to see if you have similar ideas and any overlapping themes for the ideas that are submitted. So you can hover over this, and then you can also click in and start to see even more information. Now, this type of analysis, AI exploration, is available on Ideas Advanced for our Ideas Advanced customers. If you are interested in learning more about Ideas Advanced, go ahead and pop that into the chat, and we'll be sure to follow up with you after the tutorial today. You may recall that one of our strategic initiatives was enhancing activity tracking back when I showed you in the strategy section. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at all of the ideas that are in this personalized training and tracking section. Now, once I've identified a theme I want to dig into, I can actually pull this into a list report and see all of the ideas that are part of this theme. Now, if I wanted to get feedback from my team before I get started on my planning, I might just share this view directly with my team, or I can actually spin up a whiteboard, which allows me to do some live collaboration and brainstorming. So I'm going to go ahead and select this whiteboard that I've set up. So here I've set up a brainstorming session for us, and you can invite guests into this whiteboard so that you can collaborate together. Now you can see this whiteboard is saved in the workspace section here that I've already set up. Now all of those ideas have come over as records. So I can start to invite people in, and then we can start to group these by other themes to help us think through this in a more meaningful way. Now you might find as you're going through this process, new ideas will come. So you're going to do a sticky storm and you're going to have all of that really great activities. So here you can start to think, okay, well, if we've got some really good ideas that have come out of this session, you can actually convert these stickies to ideas, which will go back in that space where we just saw in the ideas overview. So you don't have to leave AHA to do all this, and you can step in and out of those structured and unstructured spaces. Now, at this point, we've seen our customer ideas, we've reviewed those new ideas from our colleagues, and now we're ready to decide which ones are going to be promoted to our roadmap. And that's where the idea prioritization screen is really valuable. This is a really great time to start to revisit any scoring that you have, that maybe you have new information, you've learned that ideas are more closely related to your strategy, so you can start to revisit that here. What we think about from a prioritizations perspective is this is a really good exercise to do as you start to think what records will be promoted, which will then go on to our roadmap in later stages. So here we have it all loaded. I like to think of the product value scores as a starting point of conversation. So if I've made any changes here, what I'll probably do is do a quick sort based on the product value. Then we can start to collaborate and we can start to say maybe we want to make small adjustments here. But when we feel good about this, we can then move on to promoting these to records on our roadmap. So I'm going to look at this top rank score here, look at this idea. I feel really good about moving forward with this. So I'm going to go ahead and promote this to a feature on one of my parking lots, which we will decide where we're going to put that later. So once it's promoted, you'll see I've got that promoted feature here. So this just helps you kind of revisit that idea, move forward and put it on your roadmap, which is great. So now we've covered a lot in this section. So let me do a quick recap. We started out with reviewing new ideas from our ideas portal. Then we used AI exploration to organize all of those into common themes. From there, we did a brainstorming session where we started to generate new ideas based on some strategic initiatives we were planning. And then we were ready to move forward and prioritize those and promote them to features. So that's going to bring us to our next stage, which is called Explore. Back to you, Julie.
Great. Well, we've captured all of that valuable feedback. I love it. Now it's time to start thinking a little more creatively about how to solve customer problems and deliver those meaningful experiences. In the explore phase, all about pushing boundaries and innovating. This is when our product management team collaborates really closely with the UX team. We start to brainstorm new experiences. We start by forming a perspective of what should be done. And since we just went through our customer feedback during the capture phase, we already have a really good sense of the customer challenges and the impact of solving them. So at this stage, we do a lot of work within whiteboards, creating rough wireframes to visualize potential solutions. Our goal here is to gather feedback from the various teams and then determine which appropriate approach feels the most viable before we dive into those higher fidelity designs. And this phase is exciting because now you get to see the beginnings of these ideas come to life. Stephanie, back to you. I'm super excited for you to show us how.
We're going to continue on with that activity tracking theme that we just looked at in the last section, and we're going to start whiteboarding that user experience. So this is a wireframe that we've set up that represents our current experience. You can see here that I've built this out using our whiteboarding shapes that you can find here if you're part of our Whiteboard Advanced plan. So you can see here, I've got a lot of great shapes. What this allows you to do is stand up a really quick mock-up of what you currently have, which you can then start to get feedback. So I created this using all of those elements here, and I'm ready to start to invite some people in and get that feedback. So you can see here on the side, I've got some great comments, which is going to help me moving forward when I do that kind of low fidelity mockup that I'm going to do in the next step. Now, if you don't currently use Whiteboards Advanced and you want to learn a little bit more about these capabilities, which include things like PI planning and voting and some other really great features, go ahead and pop that in the Q&A as well, and we'll be sure to follow up if you want to learn more. You might be thinking, why are we doing this so early? This is, as Julie mentioned, a way for you to do that high level view, because if you get that feedback up in the beginning of your process, everyone is able to align to that direction. So that way, when you bring the UX designers in, they feel really good about doing that their designs because you've already incorporated a lot of feedback. So it'll really save you some pain in the long run. So I'm going to review this feedback that I've got here. You can see that Catherine has mentioned maybe we should add a date picker up here, which I think is a great idea. So I'm going to go over to my future state here, and this is going to represent the vision of where we're going. Now I'm going to go into these shapes and I'm going to look for the date picker, and I'm going to go ahead and place that here. I feel really good about that placement, and then we can continue to get feedback. So this is great, a way to do some of that early stage research. So now I have this new vision that I feel good about moving forward. And this is just a great way to sketch out that desired experience, get everyone aligned before you proceed with actually breaking down this work into some more granular records. So we're going to go back over to our framework where we're going to start to get into the fun stuff, which is the nitty gritty of our plan section. Julie?
So now that we've explored innovative features and we've gathered valuable feedback, it's time to shift our focus to what we plan to deliver. So in this plan phase, we draft a high-level roadmap. We scope features in collaboration with both design and engineering, and we prioritize work based on both the value and the effort. Now, in the previous steps, we involve stakeholders along the way by involving them in ideation and exploration so we can get them on board. But you still have to make some tough decisions as you build out your roadmap. And this can be challenging for many product managers because it can be tough to get everyone to agree on what to build. You're trying to balance different perspectives and competing priorities, which can make alignment difficult. But we have a really great start. We've involved stakeholders in all of our previous steps, including ideation and exploration. And next, to make it less difficult, we recommend, and what we do at AHA is value-based prioritization. This helps us stay focused on the work that will bring the most value to our customers and to the business. And of course, it's what will ultimately help us to achieve our goals. Now, because we involved our stakeholders early, they now have context into why certain decisions were made. This goes such a long way to help make the roadmap approval process go even more smoothly. It allows us to create a roadmap that's both realistic and impactful, and it sets up the team for a much smoother development process and successful delivery because we're all aligned. Stephanie, back over to you to show the plan phase in action.
It's definitely tough to make those prioritization decisions, but it's exciting at the same time because you're starting to form what's going to come in the new year. And there are also many approaches you can take when you're thinking about planning your roadmap. So I'm going to come over here to our prioritization space. And sometimes it might be useful to think in a more free-form space where you want to do sort of a rough draft of that plan before you actually commit to your roadmap. So I'm actually going to bring these over to a whiteboard again. So see that I've set up an initial roadmap. Again, this allows really active collaboration for those guests that I've invited into this whiteboard. And you can start to see I've got all of these records and I've got a very simple roadmap. So this is just a chance to start to think through, help kind of get a rough shape of what that plan will look like. So to start, I'm going to drag over some of these records into this and start to think through. Right now, I have them sorted based on those value scores that we've decided, and I'm just going to start to plot them out. Now I can take a look at this one here, this top athlete analytics, which is going to be part of that initiative we've been working on. And you can start to think through, I can think this is our most high value score that we've decided. So I want to make sure that it's got priority. And I feel really good about planning this out in the beginning of our year. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And I'm going to say it's going to take us probably about a month to complete. Now, you can see here, I have a very quick initial estimate. Currently, I have this set to calculate an initial estimate just by the time that I've set. There's a lot of robust capabilities in AHA to plan capacity, whether you're doing detailed estimates, team estimates, things of that nature. But for the purpose of today, we're going to keep things pretty simple and just have it reflected by the date range. Now, as you start to think through some of this, you also want to be mindful of cross-team or cross-feature dependencies. So I'm going to go ahead and visualize some of the dependencies that I've already defined. So you can see here by lines. Now, these dependencies I've already set are really great because then I can start to think through maybe which ones need to come in priority order based on who needs to be completed first. All of the dependencies can be done here in that related section, and then you'll see them visually show up on this view as well. Now, once you're doing that, you can really just get a good perspective of how we're feeling about the plan. So once we've kind of sketched out that rough timeline and we feel really good about it, the next thing you want to do is actually start to see if you have any conflicts, move things around. And based on that, I think I'm ready to start looking at how this plan will shape up. Now, when I'm ready to start thinking about one of our roadmap views, I'm actually going to go to one of our most popular ones, which is our strategic roadmap. Now, this is one of my favorite views because the primary record you're seeing on this view is those strategic initiatives. So here you can see that enhanced activity tracking that we've been focused on. This really allows you to make any other adjustments. So this is when the plan is starting to firm up, start to take a really good shape. You can see I also have those dependencies. If I've missed any dependencies and I need to create some more, I can start to do that here. And I can also make some adjustments based on those dependencies. And you can do all of that right here. I can open up these record details as well. So wherever you are in AHA, you can start to make adjustments and very quickly see the impact of those changes. Now you'll notice some of these dates are defined and some of them have this kind of fuzzy bar here. This will show up this way when you don't have any dates decided. So this can help you see, okay, look, we haven't decided this one yet. Maybe I'm going to go in and decide the date range here. So This is a good starting place, right? This is a high-level roadmap. It's really good to share with senior level stakeholders who just want to understand, hey, we've defined these initiatives. How are we actually delivering for them in the new year? So you want to do this for each feature on your roadmap, feeling really good and really confident about what's next. So a quick recap of what we've done here is we've went ahead and we've done a early stage rough draft of our plan. We've revisited our prioritization scores. We've tracked some dependencies. We've organized our features into releases. And actually, that makes me realize that I want to show you one more thing here. So as we're starting to think through this plan, once you define all these features, you also are seeing here how I have got these milestones. These milestones here, they represent those release dates. And I want to show you the best way to actually define that is going to actually be on that features board. So on this features board, you can see I've got these release columns. They're really grouped together by functionality and those key release dates. So this is something you also are going to do in that early stage planning is you're just finding some initial placement of how you want these features to come to life. Now, you obviously are going to iterate because things happen, but this is going to give you a good starting place. And you'll find later when you actually get into the execute phase that you'll live in this space a lot as well, where you're making some adjustments. But this is just what I wanted to highlight, which shows you how that links to that strategy roadmap and those release milestones that you're seeing there. So that was a bit of a recap of how we started that planning phase, but we're going to move on to a little bit more of that showcase functionality in our next step in the framework.
All right, now we've carefully planned the roadmap and we've gathered feedback from our stakeholders along the way. It's time for the exciting part. It's time to reveal what's ahead. So in the showcase phase, this is where we tell our roadmap story. We really want to get the team and customers energized and motivated about what's coming next. I would say this is a pretty critical phase because it not only ensures alignment, but it also helps everyone understand the strategic context behind our decisions. So when stakeholders can see how each decision ties back to your broader goals, it becomes so much easier to gain consensus. And I know what you're thinking, but yes, even if not every idea that they shared initially is included. This is a great moment to build energy and momentum. And when we share the roadmap with everyone, it really helps give the whole team a clear picture of where we're going. And here's the part I love best. By inviting feedback, we're not just telling people what's happening, we're starting a conversation. We're all working together to make the plan even better. So in the end, this step sets us up for success. The entire team is on the same page, they're energized, and they're ready to go. We have a shared plan, and now we're all excited to make it happen together.
Thank you. At this stage, there are many different ways that you can showcase those plans. You really want to consider the audience that you are communicating with and what level of detail that they're going to want to see. For example, if you're wanting to present to a leadership team, you might want to keep that roadmap that I showed in the last section and really show them the strategy roadmap. Or if you're working with something like a sales or support team, you may want to provide more details about what is to come and even an exact timeline. And the great thing about having all of your data in AHA is that you can do that and create these different roadmap views very quickly and save them for each of those audiences. Now, let's imagine you want to share your roadmap with a group of internal teams like sales and support. And that is where our features roadmap is really popular. Aesthetically, this is one of my favorites because you can clearly see all of the columns which represent those releases which we've set. And you can start to see the related goals and initiatives that each of these features will contribute to by shipping this release. Now, I might want to make small adjustments here and customize it for the audience. Like in this case, because this is an early stage roadmap, I probably don't want to show current status or progress. But I know that I've captured some really good information on my record tag, so I want to show tags so I can start to see how I've tagged these features and what's coming up. Now, you have the ability to decide the dates you want to show. So in this example, I'm showing a very clear, concrete date that we hope to do it. But if I wanted to actually use a more external facing date, I can quickly do that and start to hide that a little bit more. So you really have control over the type of information that you communicate here. Now, if I'm ready to share this information out with my stakeholders, there's a few different methods that you can do. You can share this view directly as a web page. So actually, I'm going to show an example there. This allows you to share a URL, and you can also customize some drill-in capabilities. So if you want to give your stakeholders some ability to see some key information at the record level, you can decide what information you would like, and you can communicate that with the URL. what's really great about that is that they can bookmark this link and they can see the latest and greatest version of this roadmap. But you might find that you want to share this information through one of our presentations, which allows you to build out some more information and build a story around how you've come to this roadmap. So I'm going to go ahead and share this to one of my existing presentations. Now you can see it's added. I'm going to go ahead and load that up. If part of your process includes reviewing this with key stakeholders, maybe you have certain phases or gates that you do this communication, this presentation view is really valuable. So you can see here that I've got that features roadmap loading up on this slide, and you can control how you would like this updated. I have this set to refresh on update, so every time I open it, I can do that. I can update it there. But I might want this to be live updates so that anytime I'm opening up this presentation, I'm seeing the latest and greatest version, and I don't have to worry about my roadmap being out of date. So that's another way that you can share the information. You also can add additional context to these slides, and you can really share the story about how you arrived at this roadmap when you're communicating with your stakeholders. Now, another way that you might think through this is after you present these plans, you might get questions, feedback, and hopefully a lot of enthusiasm for your new year. But you might want to seek formal approval of your plans as well. And then once you get that, you can breathe a sigh of relief because you've received that approval. But our job as product managers is never done. You'll probably soon enough, you're going to be building this all over again. Now, once you finalize this plan, you can quickly put together roadmap views for other audiences. So I'm going to show you another one that is a bit more broad communication when you want to think through communicating your plans rather than so date focused. That's where you're going to see a lot of value in our now, next, later roadmap. So the now, next, later, I have configured this to show my features by quarters. So I have the next quarter is going to be, the first quarter is going to be the now, then I've got the mid-range, which is next, and then we have our later. So this is a more of a date agnostic view where I'm able to bucket into these time frames and really focus on what's coming immediately and in the longer term. Now, I can also share this one as a web page, or I could add it to my presentation as well. But I've also worked with a lot of customers that have chosen to actually communicate this roadmap directly on their ideas portal. So I'm going to show you an example where I've done that. So you can see I've got this community, I have lots of active users, but I might want to communicate this upcoming plan. So I can embed this roadmap view directly into my portal. So I'm really staying close to that community and showing them what's coming, which is really exciting for those really actively engaged users. So there's that now, next, later. So lots of options, which is really great. You can save all these views. And what's awesome about this is as you go and make tweaks to this plan, maybe you're updating feature definition or dates, all of these views will adapt and be updated, which really is a time saver for you. Now, a quick recap before we get into our Q&A. Here we talk about options for showcasing your exciting plans, starting with that features roadmap and then the now, next, later, including how you can share that out with your audience. Each organization, though, follows a unique process, and as a result, you'll all face unique obstacles. But hopefully this helps you with some tips and tricks on making your roadmap planning process a bit smoother. So I'm happy to show you all of that, but I'm going to kick it back over to Rose before we get into our Q&A.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie and Julie, for your wonderful advice and walkthrough. We were super busy in the Q&A, and it looks like we do have a few minutes to get to some of the questions that came up multiple times. So I'll start us off with a couple frameworks questions that were coming up. First, most basic part of this is where are the frameworks located in AHA? And if someone has maybe not seen them, how can they address that? Stephanie, do you want to just show us how to navigate to the framework?
So you'll see it in the knowledge section under the methodology, there's frameworks. If you're not seeing that in your account, it might just be that that navigation is turned off. So workspace owners can go ahead and change those settings so you can visualize that on your navigation to make sure that you have access to that frameworks capability.
Great, thank you. And then a follow-up on the frameworks, we had several people ask how the phases align or tie to initiatives and goals and kind of strategy records or strategic planning.
Yeah, the strategize phase is where we start to think about our initiatives and our goals. And it's really important, as you can see in the capture phase, it's a recurring cycle. And so we're always looking at our ideas. We're always understanding those customer themes. So when we get to the strategize phase, those ideas and those themes are really top of mind. So we start to work together on what are those product initiatives and what are the goals that we want to achieve at that time.
Great, thank you. Okay, and then we also had a couple questions come up on time frames. So the first one was, what is your recommended time frame for initiatives? Is it 3 months, 6 months, something else? Feel free, either of you, to tackle that one.
Julie, do you want to get started?
Sure, I can share from an AHA perspective. So what we do on the product team is we plan every half. And so our initiatives are planned right now. We're planning them for the next half in 2025. You could be planning by month or by year. So I think it really just depends on the way that you work. The one thing at AHA specifically that we do as well is, yes, we have our core initiatives planned out, but as we continue to learn from customers, we're reviewing those ideas, capturing new themes, sometimes there's new initiatives that pop up that then get added for that specific half. So it is continuous, but we do definitely want to make sure we have a plan set up first so we can capture those initiatives based on all those core themes. I don't know, Stephanie, if you have any feedback for customers specifically.
No, that's really in line with the common themes that I see. You really want to AHA is so flexible, so you really want to marry it up to your current organization's process. So if you have a regular cadence, I find most often these are not too frequently defined, right? It's a little bit more high level. So being able to set those kind of quarterly or at the half is a pretty common approach. So
Great, thank you. Okay, and then let's close out with one or two more questions around whiteboards, since people were excited about the great views you were showing there, Stephanie. So one is, how do you move ideas records into a brainstorming session on a whiteboard?
that's a great question. So I can go ahead and show that here. So anytime you want to move records over to a whiteboard, you can do it from any list report or reporting view. So in this example, if I have a prioritization view, you should see the option to send over to a whiteboard as records. So that record key is going to allow it. It's not just going to be a static image. It's going to have some of that information. Some of those updates to the idea will be reflected there. And you can also click into more details on those records. So you want to be sure you're sending them over to a whiteboard as records. If you have a whiteboard already existing, you can choose which one you would like to go to, or you can create a new one where you can bring in a new template and start to brainstorm.
Great, thank you. And then since you just mentioned templates, I'll close it out with one more question someone had. How do you find all those great whiteboard templates in roadmaps?
Happy to show that. So once you open up a whiteboard, you can see down here, I've got templates. Now we have a lot of rich templates for you to use. Most commonly used, you'll see some key categories, meetings, teamwork, and strategy. So depending on what you're looking for, you also can do a quick search and you can bring that in. So if you wanted to do multiple exercises on a single whiteboard, you could bring in a couple templates, marry that with those records you brought over, and you have a really great starting point for some collaboration.
Perfect, thank you. And anything else that either of you wanted to cover or address in the Q&A before we close out here? I think we have a couple last minute questions coming in, but we might just need to follow up with those after this.
I just appreciate everyone joining and being engaged, and hopefully I'll see you all on the support side. So if you need any questions or help from me, we're always here for you and support. So hopefully I'll see you down the road when you're getting into your own plans.
Yes,
And I'd
awesome.
like
Thanks.
to just say, I love strategic planning. You can probably tell by my excitement. It's such a fun time to be planning things out. And especially I told you the capture phase is my favorite. Thank you again, all of you, for providing those ideas to us so that we do know what to build and the things that will help you in your own work, in your own day to day. So please continue to do that. And we're looking forward to speaking more with all of you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We hope you're feeling inspired as you embark on building your roadmap for the new year. Email us anytime at support@aha.io. Have a great day, all. Bye.
Thank you.